hi everyone. So I'm Vincent Chambléron. I'm a second-year PhD student at LAM. And so I will tell you how we can use a modulation camera to control the pyramid wavefront sensor on the fly. So to be general, so the wavefront sensor is a device which is going to encode the phase into intensity on the detector. So if I show you this, it's the well-known pyramid signals on a pupil plane camera. So usually what we do, we build a linear model to characterize our wavefront sensor through a process of calibration. So we show some modes to the wavefront sensor and we record the response. So by doing that, we record the calibration matrix. Here it's called MC. And we use the pseudo-inverse of this matrix to reconstruct the phase from the signal on the pyramid measurement. But we all know now that the pyramid wavefront sensor is really a nonlinear device. So why not trying to really accept the fact that the pyramid is nonlinear and try to think about a nonlinear reconstructor? So here, what we do usually is we use a calibration matrix. So we use really a linear model of the wavefront sensor. But we can also think the pyramid wavefront sensor as what we call a linear parameter varying system. So it's quite famous for the control in control theory, these kind of systems. It's just thinking that the pyramid is linear around, is locally linear. So at each moment, when we do a measurement, the interaction matrix depends on the phase we are trying to measure, but we still can describe the system with a matrix. So we can always think it as a linear device, but the linearity is changing every time we are measuring a different phase. So it's kind of confusing because we want to use this matrix, which depends on the phase, to recover the phase. So there is kind of a paradox. So in the interaction matrix space, so it's a kind of a schematic view of where is the interaction matrix. So when we do a calibration, we have the interaction matrix, which is here, okay, let's say. And now that we are measuring a phase phi, we have an interaction matrix, which is describing our system in another place. So it's not the same. And what we call the optical gain, it's the offset between the calibration and the new matrix, which is describing the system. And so at every frame, because the phase is changing, the phase we are measuring, the interaction matrix, which is describing the system, is varying. That's why it's a linear parameter varying system. Okay, so it's moving. So what we want to do, if we want to use a linear parameter varying reconstructor, we want to be aware of the state of the system, and so we need to do what we call gain scheduling. So it's try to follow this interaction matrix on the fly. For that, we need to have some information about the phase that we implement in the reconstructor. And we want to do it frame by frame. So our solution, so if we have the pyramid wavefront sensor, we want to take some light and to put it in the modulation camera. So a modulation camera is a camera which is just imaging the modulated PSF at the tip of the pyramid. So when we are doing the calibration, if we don't have NCPA anything, just at the diffraction, we have this PSF. And once we are going on sky, when the loop is open, we have this distorted PSF. So if we put this data in a wavefront sensor model, where we need just this image of the modulation camera and the shape of the mask of our wavefront sensor. So here it's a four-sided pyramid. We can find back the optical gains. So just to remind you the optical gains quickly, so it encodes a loss of sensitivity. So for example, if I take this mode, like 150, I mean, anyway, it's just to say that if you send one of this mode, you will get 0.46, for example. So it's encoding a loss of sensitivity when you're on sky. So if you close the loop, so just to say that the wavefront sensor model we are using is the convolutional model. I won't speak about it, but if you have any question, you can ask. So if we close the loop here, for example, so we see that the optical gains are going to move. So one is like no optical gains. So when you close the And yeah, so it's no optical gains when you're at 1. So when you're closing the loop, you're improving your optical gains. Okay, so we want to use this data to update the reconstructor frame by frame. So yeah, here is the open loop optical gains, which are really low, and when we are closing the loop, we are reducing the residual, so we are improving our gains. Okay, so we have this gain scheduling problem. We want to really accept the fact that the pyramid is a nonlinear device, and so we have this solution using a modulation camera to probe the optical gains frame by frame. So the drawback, I think it's clear that there is a problem because we are stealing photons on the way, but the solution is really an absolute measurement, so we can really probe the state of our system without going through the telemetry data, so we are really like free from the loop. So yeah, it's what we call no pain, no gain, so we have to steal some photons, and we believe it's really important to have this, we have to steal some photons to really know the state of our system. So, okay, everything it's okay, it's cool, but what are the applications of that? So first, for the bootstrap, so if we have this modulation camera, we can compute the open loop optical gains, and so we can do a faster bootstrap. We can also bootstrap on stronger turbulence, and if we use that with a non-modulated pyramid, we can hope that maybe we will have a better dynamic because we will go, we'll follow the optical gains, and so maybe we could use it to close on a non-modulated pyramid. Another point, it's to enhance the closed loop robustness and performance. So, for example, here is a little plot from 2 weeks ago at Paranal, the variation of seeing during the night. So we have strong variation, and following the optical gains like this with this kind of device with a modulation camera, it's really helpful because we can update the interaction matrix at each frame and really follow this the change of linearity of our pyramid. And also, it can be really helpful for handling NCPA, so the non-common path aberration, which is a big issue with the pyramid wavefront sensor. So here, I will just go on with the NCPA just to show an example of the application of the modulation camera in simulation and what we can do with that to handle NCPA. So quickly with the NCPA, so that there is a difference between the science path and the wavefront sensing path. So there is a so if we want to compensate for the NCPA, we have to put a non-flat wavefront on the pyramid wavefront sensor. Okay, so if we do that, that means if we image the PSF on the pyramid, what we want is a target which is a distorted PSF. So we have a really nice PSF on our science path. So for that, the first step is to build the interaction matrix around the non-zero point. But even if we do that, because we have residual phases when we are working on sky, there will be a change in the working regime, so the optical gains are going to change the reconstructor we need, and also there will be a change in the reference. So when we are going to put the reference, so the target on the target PSF on the wavefront sensor, there will be these measurements are going to be affected by optical gains. Okay, so if we do a simulation, so we choose I mean, it's not really a big deal, all the parameters of this simulation. It's just to show you that if you try to compensate the NCPA with the wavefront sensor, I guess a lot of you tried that in simulation or even on Sky. So if you try to aim for a given reference on your wavefront sensor, because of the optical gain, at the end you will have NCPA, you push too much because you have optical gains. So you converge towards the wrong reference, and that's, of course, a problem because you're pushing, yes, too much. There is even a worst-case scenario if it's you put even more NCPA. So here it's 200 nanometer RMS. So here, when you do that, there is something that's going to happen, is the fact that optical gains, so as I said, you are pushing too much when you set the reference, but if you have a strong NCPA, you will create optical gains because you're pushing too much. And when you do that, you're going to create more optical gains, so you're going to push too much, and it's going to be a vicious circle, and the loop can diverge. So it's what I call the NCPA catastrophe. So if we use the modulation camera, so here on the top is what I show you, the uncompensated reference, and if we use the modulation camera to compensate the reference and to follow the gains, actually we don't diverge and we correct the NCPA in a good way. So just to do a sum up with this little example on the use of the modulation camera for NCPA handling, if we do a small NCPA, we try to put small NCPA on the pyramid, even if we don't compensate the reference with the optical gains, we can converge towards something, but it will be something wrong. And if we have strong NCPA, it's even worse. We diverge if we don't put the optical gains. We don't take in account the optical gains. So yeah, that was an example of the use of the modulation camera. Okay, so just to conclude, our wavefront sensor, now it's not this anymore. Now what we have is this wavefront sensor. So we really want to include the modulation camera to probe our system and the behavior of our system at each frame. So the big drawbacks is to say, I mean, at least the studies that we have to lead now on this device is how do we split the photons between the modulation camera and the pyramid. So we have to study what's the impact of noise on our camera and what's the impact on the optical gain computation. And also maybe we have some solution like trying to use the modulation camera at another wavelength so we don't steal photons to the pyramid. So yeah, and everything will be tested also on the loops bench. So this is the professor of Pierre. So we want to do that. And for example, so everything I said, it was for the pyramid, but actually it works with any kind of Fourier-based wavefront sensor. So Gérard asked to Pierre, what do we, I mean, where we are in terms of comparison between different Fourier filtering wavefront sensor. I think we will have to compare them by using a modulation camera and to optimize the optical gains for all of them. So we will have a really good basis of comparison because there will be, all of them will be optimized, and so we can compare them. Yeah, thank you.